Hey there, doodlies. Welcome to another episode of Rennch. On today's show, we are on the Blasphemy Build. I've got a bunch of odds and ends, a bunch of engineering stuff to do, a bunch of fabrication, and towards the end of the episode, a very special guest with a funny accent. Now, in the last episode, I mounted these absolutely gorgeous augment wheels on the car. Overwhelmingly, you guys are in favor of the wheels. I love them. I think they look amazing. 17 by 8, 17 by 10, or wait, 17 by 8, 17 by 10. They're basically GT3 wheels that I shrunk, and Augment did an unbelievable job. So thank you guys for your great comments about the wheels. Obviously, not everyone loves them, but I certainly do. And moreover, I really love the tire choices I have. Now, on this episode, I've got a bunch of stuff in this box right here that I just got from Racetronics, who is a relatively new sponsor to the show. They are, I believe, in Canada, and they are the ones that if you ever need any like hoses or fittings or fuel pumps or things like that, Racetronics is the spot. They have an unbelievable selection of parts, and they're cheap. Like, you know, a lot of the stuff, especially with these AN, like the dash fittings, they cost a ton of money, but Racetronics has them for a very good price. We've partnered up to finish a lot of what needs to be done in this engine, which is like all the plumbing. So I still have to run all of my coolant lines in the back. I've got to run coolant to my turbos. I've got to run oil to my turbos, which means I've got to like have drains and things. I need a coolant overflow tank. I need to reconfigure my routing of my coolant line going up to the front of the car. And I actually need to redo my lines in the front because my wheels hit my beautiful Dime PSI coolant lines. So all of that stuff I'm going to try to get done on this show. And my special guest is going to come on and help me with some fabrication. Not only here, but there's a few other kind of cool fabrication projects that I've got to do on the car. Now, if you're going to Rennsport Reunion, my whole plan was to get this car to Rennsport. It's not going to happen. I just don't have the money. I need a couple of major parts that cost a couple $1,000s, and I just don't have it. So I'm going to wait on that. I'm hoping to at least get the car done by SEMA, or at least sometime in like early October. But I do have a big goal of when this gentleman is going to be in town that the car sort of regularly starts and the engine is running. So I just have to finish the interior and a couple of other little bits. Now, let me tell you a bit about the gray Ghost. If you guys don't know, I had an accident with my gray car where my hood flew up at 70 miles an hour. It was super gnarly. I've gotten a replacement aluminum hood, but I needed to fix the cowl because the hood completely dented the cowl. So what I did is I brought out a brand new purchase I made, which is the Harbor Freight stud puller. And it's really great when you have a dent that you can't get to the backside and put a hammer and dolly on it. This thing welds these little studs on and you use a slide hammer to pull the dent out. So I did that yesterday and I put some filler on the car. My initial plan right now is to use this car for the Rennsport Reunion, get it dialed in. I need to get some tires for it, but otherwise it's in pretty fine fettle and I should be able to drive this thing to Rennsport. So let me show you where we're at with the Blasphemy Build. Now, I've got coolant that comes out of here, It needs to circle around. I've eliminated my water pump here. It doesn't need to be there. So all I really need to do is connect this line that's going to go here to this coolant line that is waiting for it. So I'm going to have to refabricate a piece that goes there. So that's going to be something we do on this episode. You can see here I've got a little dash 4. This actually goes dash 3 to dash 4. Then the dash 4 comes out, will split, and will actually feed each turbo. So that's the oil feed for the turbos that will then drain to the oil pan down here. We're going to do that in this episode. And then I have coolant, which is going to come from, you see this little guy here, this little port? There's another one on this side over here. So we're going to loop this thing around and drop it, and then that is going to feed each turbo coolant. It's going to drain and eventually hook up with a spot right here, which is where the thermostat used to go, but the ECU is handling all that stuff now. So that's going to happen. I've got some new flanges here and new flanges here to give a really nice tight fit. So that needs to happen. And then I have a bit of fabrication I've got to do that's actually attached to my engine cradle for my shifter cables, because I actually can't reach where the shifter cables were originally designed. I can't reach the sort of ferrules on the end, so I have to fabricate a new spot for the cables to terminate so that I can actually get my shifter working. But for now, let's unbox all of this goodness from Racetronics right here. Okay, so of all the things I do, I would say that this part is probably what I'm weakest at, which is all the kind of engineering of all the hoses and what needs to go where. So it's taken me a little while longer than I would have liked to kind of get everything I need in terms of like all the different fittings, how I'm going to route them, etc., etc. And I have to thank John at Outfront Motorsports, who is really my Subaru guru. He's the guy that provides the headers that I'm using here, but they do incredible Subaru tuning and that kind of thing. And he's the guy that really knows, you know, what ports do what on these engines. So I've had to ask him about 800 questions, and now I have some semblance of what I'm doing on this engine. So let's go. We're gonna weld on that thing. This is the first thing I've been waiting a long time for. So this little guy is a beautiful coolant tank from Racetronics. So I'm going to be using this on all of my Subaru swaps. It's this beautifully made aluminum welded tank. It's nice and compact. It'll fit beautifully inside the engine compartment. And I've been waiting for that guy for like 6-8 weeks because they were out. Now, I have a giant pile here of fittings and other things that all have a purpose. I think with my discount, I probably spent $700 on all these fittings and hoses and such. So pretty crazy, pretty crazy. This is a bung that gets welded to this. So that goes there. I've got a bunch of Y fittings because remember, I've got to go from one outlet to 2 ports on oil and coolant. Got a bunch of dash 16 stainless hose. This is going to replace my dime PSI hoses in the front because my hoses interfere with these sort of bigger wheels. So that's all that. So this thing is really the biggest piece that I've gotten, and that's going to go somewhere around here, I think. And I'm going to try to keep this thing, you know, you obviously want your coolant mounted as high as possible so there's no air bubbles in your lines. So I'm going to try to mount this as high as I can in this area. Then I've got to get from this T here. I've got like a little T here. I've got to get around to this hose with kind of a 90 here. I've got a little bung here. What I need to do is make this thing into like a 90-degree bend, if you will. Will not win any international welding awards for my dimes, but it is welded, it is secured, and I tigged it. Go me. It looks pretty good. It looks like there's one spot I could probably touch up, but very pleased with how that turned out. Now I have to cut this and then weld it to the other pipe to make my perfect little 90 that I need here. So So this to me is like the trickiest part of trying to get a tube together, which is how to hold it together and get it to stay and kind of tack it. What I'm hoping to be able to do is what's called a fusion tack here, which is, I don't have to use any filler. It'll just melt the two pieces together. Hopefully I can do it. Kind of melted the first one, but I got the second one. It is definitely not aligned at all. I just put a gigantic hole in the side of this, so that's not good. That's a big old hole that I gotta fill. Everything else is pretty good, but that was not a good spot. So I'm gonna try to clean this up a little bit here and practice filling in holes with TIG welding. That is not what we would call pretty, everybody, but I think it's gonna work. That's not too bad, boys. I mean, for an absolute hack of a welder, that is not too bad. I just cooled it down from 15 billion degrees. And it's ugly, but it's going to work. So, okay, there it is. And here's my patch. But it worked. That was a big hole for TIG. Big hole. But this looks pretty good. There you go. That is brilliant. Cool. This one goes here in the original spot. Goes out here, merges with this one here, curves back around and heads right towards the front of the car. So that is fantastic. Gents, we are back. It's the next day. I've been mucking around with a bunch of different stuff on this car. I've got a lot to do. I've got to relocate my shift cable ends. I've got to relocate my coolant lines up front so they don't hit the front wheels. Play with a little bit with the stance and that kind of thing, and just do a bunch of like little fabrication stuff. Thankfully, one of my favorite fabricators in the world happens to be in town, Mr. Home Built by Jeff himself.
Hey guys.
Yo. So first look in real life of the Blasphemy Build.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm loving it. Like, these wheels are a thing of pure beauty.
Gemstones.
They really are.
Yeah.
Very nice. Perfect for this build. I am looking forward to trying to thrash on this and see how much we can get done and get it close to driving this.
Closer. I need to relocate my turbos. So it's really nice to have a second set of hands to kind of hold them where they need to be. Yeah. So we can throw a tack in it, because it's really hard to do that when you're on your own.
When you're working on by yourself all the time, it's so often it's like, oh, another set of hands.
If there was just
so make
we were just
so
talking. Yeah, we were just talking about like how we're so used to working by ourselves, and it's nice to just have somebody to bounce an idea off of, or hold a thing, or hey, would you mind, blah blah blah. So maybe we just need to do like, you know, a month, and maybe we just need to do a month in each other's country every year, and just to like crank on a car or something like that. So plan is, gray car is going to go to Rennsport. I've got a couple things I've got to do on that this week, which will be done. And then we have a bunch of odds and ends on the green car that we want to do, so we're going to just get right into it. All right, so amongst wheel fitment issues interfering with my bumper here, the other major issue I'm having under the car is that my lovely, beautiful Dime PSI hoses that are running coolant to the front radiators are interfering, unfortunately. They're being interfered with the tire. I think they're just too long. So I've gotten a bunch of stainless steel hose, and we're going to try to reconfigure this in a way that enables it to be run and maybe shorter, maybe more out of the way. We will see, but we're going to try to reroute these so they are maybe not even going up and over, but maybe down and underneath. So let's just see. So this actually could turn out to be a better solution than what I had before. So the line's coming out from the tunnel, obviously underneath, and then running up alongside the bottom here, and then it just loops up and connects with that guy. So I'm gonna have two separate hoses. So we have one there to about here, and then the other one that'll go in. But the cool part is I've lowered the entire process. Instead of going up through the wheel well, which could potentially be like a air bubble, air pocket in the top, it then gives me some flexibility on where I can mount my coolant overflow tank, which originally I was going to do sort of around here, but I may actually be able to do it, you know, now on the edge and get it a little bit out of the way. So just engineering, you know, engineering situation. So I'm going to cut this thing first and just kind of see where we're at. See if I can make it work the way I'm thinking I can. And we'll move on from there.
Like you said, like if they weren't red anodized, and you hadn't said red anodized.
Yeah, there's no way. Excuse me, sir.
Sorry.
You're in my,
Oh, sorry.
you're in my
I'm in your
workspace.
shot.
He's in my shop, bro.
You ruined my shot.
If you've never done these before, which are these AN fittings on stainless steel hoses, not a fun job. They are really tight and tricky. And you definitely need a good vise secured to something, as I have learned. You can only get them so far with your hands before you got to get in there and like really wrench them with a vise. So I've got some aluminum jaws here in my vise to protect the aluminum of this, and then this is a special AN fitting wrench. And once you secure it, you just crank them down as hard as you can, basically. I've lubed up the inside with some rubber-friendly silicone WD-40, and you just got to get in here and rail on it. So while I'm doing this, Jeff is filming for his own YouTube channel, and maybe is that the first time that we're doing concurrent YouTube?
We are
filming,
and I obviously have to come and steal Mike's tools to actually do it. But I'm working on his car, so
I love it. That's
he
right.
can just
you can
suck
totally
it up.
do that. It's all good. It's all good. I feel pretty good about that. All right. Swivel. Swivel. We're going to shift focus, very cool, on the Blasphemy build to get my hoses rerouted, and then Jeff was working on some stuff in terms of my shift linkage in the back that I can show you in a future date. However, the main premise is to get a car ready for the Rennsport Reunion. So we're going back to the old Grey Ghost here, and we need to get it functional again. Three things that need to happen are I need to fix the rest of the cowl, I need to paint the cowl, I need to install the windshield. This is going to be four things, like I said. And I need to put tires, new tires on these wheels so I can use them. That will make this into a functional car again. So Jeff and I right now are going to work on getting the cowl dialed in. So I used that stud welder to weld some studs onto the cowl, got this all straightened out, put a very thin layer of Bondo on there. So what we're gonna do here is basically prep this entire cowl area. I wanna just paint this whole thing matte black. So we'll pull the windshield. It's barely installed right now. Maybe move some of this stuff, pull my windshield wipers, and I'm gonna get this all matte black. So it's kind of dialed in looking. We're gonna install the windshield. I'm gonna do some work on the vinyl on my dashboard, which is kind of peeling up a little bit. And then we'll do a proper hood fitting. So that thing is dialed, and that should take care of all of this stuff. Then I've just gotta get some new tires for these spare wheels that I have, and I will have a car that is Rennsport worthy.
As a big build is potentially get like a 718 Boxster water cooled engine and put in a 356. Probably PDK. You probably just even do the base because the engines are cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you,
That's what I mean.
yeah, when like this is a temporary, make it nice. Like, I mean, this is very slightly low because there's still a low, like, it's the same.
It is.
Yeah.
It's when they were sponsoring Porsche in the 60s.
Yeah.
And they did the Carrera Panamericana in Mexico. So it's just killer, you know, all kinds of stuff. And when I had it redone, I had it serviced. Which, by the way, just servicing those watches is $1,000. You know. But the guy goes, he goes, dude, this isn't an everyday watch. You can't just wear this all the time. He goes, you need something you can hit on a door jamb and not worry about it. He goes, a Submariner. I go, dude, those are like, at the time they were $5,000. Yeah. My brother, watch is $5,000. He goes, literally you can put $5,000 in the bank or you can put $5,000 on your wrist. It'll never be worth less. It'll only be worth more. And that $5,000 watch, which at the time you could buy brand new, is now 12, and that was 2015.
Yeah.
So it's like, damn. All right, so Jeff and I probably put, I don't know, an hour-ish?
Yeah.
An hour-ish into this.
Easy hour.
Lovely. It feels great. It's all been scuffed and smoothed. I got a little bit of filler primer from the little rattle can stuff from the store. We're gonna hit that first, let it dry, give it a quick sand down, and then this whole thing is going to be my favorite roll bar and chassis paint from VHT. All right, we're taped and ready to go here. We've got a little filler primer. This is all like full rattle can, AutoZone stuff. For what it is, it's going to be great.
This battery's going to get flat.
One of us has a lot of painting experience. One of us does not.
Yeah. For my years as a graffiti artist.
All right, we have sanded with 600. I'm going to use my favorite VHT roll bar and chassis just to do this repaired cowl. Sir? Thank you. Feels nice, doesn't it? It's got a lot of velocity.
Yeah. You definitely still see all the our scratch marks. They're still
This is going to dry all matte, as I do enjoy. And I think it's going to be done. I'm not sure if I'm going to want to put a whole lot more into it. It's probably fine. I have repainted the windshield wiper arms as well as the grille that goes under there. So that'll all be very homogenized. And then we get to put this beautiful aluminum hood on, which weighs like a pound. All right, cowl is sufficiently dried, at least enough to take the masking off. Just doing the body work on the cowl and like getting it relatively decent looking was all I was trying to do here. This is not finished, although I will say our body work on the cowl is pretty top notch. It looks really good. So when I actually have to properly get the body work, get the hood painted, get these fenders painted well, they're not going to have to really do anything on the cowl. Like, it looks pretty awesome, if I do say so myself. The concept of this is not exactly concourse. I made a command decision to Scotch Brite the whole thing just for kind of a flat entire surface.
I was like that recently. Like now the Ferrari's sort of been out and been seen, and like and then I had to like drill holes in it and do and it's like, yeah. And because it's so pristine at the moment, but it's like, but it's only pristine because I made it that way. Like
yeah.
it was.
You can unpristine it or re-pristine it if you want to.
I'll just change the things that need to be changed and just do it. Nice.
It's
kind of intentional, like
yeah, and it looks sort of race car-y in a way.
Yeah, I think that's good.
So we gave this thing a little Scotch Brite, and I'm much happier with how it looks. It's just got this lovely matte, sort of intentional finish. Won't glare too much off the front, which is great as you're driving. And we really did a pretty bang-up job. I mean, look at that repair. And by we, I mean me. I did a great job on that. Jeff, you're a good sander, sir. You're a good sander. We're going to see if I can put my cracked windshield back in. All right, so
well,
we're ready
we're about to put the windscreen.
Anyway, So we're about to do the windshield in the Gray Ghost, and this this guy who apparently can't get enough camera time, is going to help me, although I'm going to be, again, doing 98, 99% of it. So.
All right, so we're going to fit the windscreen in now, I think.
Mine was so much better than yours. That was
You're polished in the podcaster. I'm just some mug in a garage, in somebody else's garage.
Right.
So what we'll do is just sit it just close, like down like that now. Yeah, that's out. Yep. And let's get it so it's reasonably good. Should be doing the job.
Not that you can see what's happening, you know?
No, not really. But oh yeah, I can see it. Yeah, it's definitely doing the job. Maybe leave it there for now.
You put a little pressure right there.
Hold that just a sec. Hold that thought.
Is that what you
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. Up over to the side.
In front of that side.
Around the edge.
Feels like it's done quite a good job.
Well, it's certainly 4/5 of the way there. I suppose the one thing I wish we had done is maybe thrown a little glue in there. Just a little silicone.
Well, I mean, the only stuff I've got here is like that non-curing mastic, which is what I've put in mine.
Yeah.
Which is it's more to just fill the gap because it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because was there gaps there before?
Yeah, a little. All right, that actually went very easily. It's not completely perfect in the middle, but I'm putting in an old cracked windshield for a road trip, so I'm not super concerned that it's not completely perfect. The cowl looks great. You can see it's matte black. It looks awesome. And now we're going to try to fit this aluminum hood, which, as you know, is one of my favorite things to do. I'm really into hood alignment. And then that's going to pretty much wrap it. I've already put some wheels on. Have not shown you the wheels yet. And I've got to do a little bit of tweaking in the interior just to get the thing ready. But otherwise, we have accomplished getting a vehicle ready for the Rennsport Reunion. So, yeah! Last major thing to do is fit this lovely bit of kit, which is this aluminum hood from Dansk. And it weighs nothing. You picked it up. It's featherweight. It's 7 pounds or something.
It is
crazy.
really light.
So, grab a 13.
Got two.
Lift her up.
It's so light.
I know, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
It makes it
light.
so nice.
Just want to do that one to start.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do this one
Do
just
that
first.
Yep. Yeah, see, that's lifted it much better. Now it's twisted this way.
Yeah, you can see it's almost flush here.
But that's much.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's
It's
much
much
better.
better.
Okay.
Just needs to swing that way a bit more, I think. So it's good.
Ooh, not bad. I'm gonna make a call and say I'm not worried about this
Yep.
1/8 of an inch. And just go.
That's good. Mine's far from perfect.
Huh?
Mine is far from perfect.
There's an element of me not caring. If I had my druthers, I would strip this whole thing so it's bare aluminum. That would be cool. Then maybe it's a project for us. I still have some paint stripper, by the way, like real industrial.
Oh yeah.
Paint stripper.
The aircraft.
Yeah,
the good
and
stuff.
that would actually be pretty cool. Because I always wanted this to be like
Yeah.
unpolished.
Every little bit you touch with that just makes it worse. On the silver.
Yeah. Can you see if on the original hood, the little rubber like bumper stops are in there?
Oh yeah. They are not. Why would they be on?
Steal them from Blasphemy. Because I never bought them for Blasphemy. It's too good for the first one.
Yeah.
But this just pops. That's crazy.
Mine doesn't do that.
No, not like this. This was one of the perfect first pulls in Porsche history.
Oh, that's it.
I mean, that's pretty good. Considering that, like, sometimes hood adjustment takes a day.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I mean, again, for what this is, it's a car. It has a hood. It's got wheels. It has a windshield. I'm going to make a command decision to give us a little more work tomorrow, I think. Because I think this is going to have to be raw. What? Raw what?
Aluminium.
Yeah, aluminium.
Yes.
Just because, I don't know, there's something about that I think would be really cool. Just so the world knows it's aluminum, you know?
Or aluminium.
Or aluminium. 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 Aluminum. Aluminium. Because it looks a little like, nah, but if that were raw, there'd be something like, oh, okay, like there's a little something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying there, people? All right, guys. It's Taco Tuesday. It's Taco Tuesday. We're going to go indulge in a taco and a margarita. And I hope you guys are having a great day. And thank you, Jeff. You are a star that rocks. We'll be back tomorrow. All right, so because I'm a glutton for punishment, and this car is working fine, why not try to mess it up by doing some last minute stuff? This aluminium hood has just a thin silver layer of paint on it, but I think it would look cooler just being raw aluminum. So I've employed the use of this black market, old school aircraft remover that has actual methylene chloride to remove the paint on the top of this hood. Now, this happens to be 14 years old, so maybe it's not as effective as it was, but I'll tell you what, when you get it on your skin, sure feels effective. So we're gonna give this a little bit of a shake, kind of blend it up a little bit, and then I'm just gonna send it on top of this hood. And the hope is, we did a little patch underneath, and I was able to scrape it off to bare aluminum. The hope is, with a little bit of this, a little bit of a shake up, and a thicker coat, that all of this stuff on the hood is going to come off. Your mileage may vary. Enough to go grab a coffee, and we're gonna see how this thing did.
Oh yeah!
Damn! That is what you want to see. That is very exciting.
What?
That is edge. Yeah, like this. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's so satisfying.
Oh, look at that!
Oh, that's satisfying. So there's a layer of primer.
I got most of it off without even getting the primer, because this side worked better than that side for some reason.
Guess you're just cooler, bro.
I don't know, because you had it really thick on that side. Yeah, it was thicker.
All right, so this is our second batch of aircraft stripper. We're hoping this is all we're gonna need, and we're gonna just scrape it off and be done. It looks really
Oh yeah.
good. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Tripper, and it is working a treat. Clean.
It's so
and
satisfying,
easy.
isn't it?
The whole lot, like it's
So
just.
satisfying.
There's like one or two maybe tiny little bits, but they're just.
Oh yeah. Woo! All right, so this is basically perfect. As I scrape it, every little bit is coming off. So it really took us like one full one spot, and then one like micro spot to really get all the pieces off. And there's still like a couple of little baby ones, but for the most part, this thing is like completely bare.
I'm seeing all the stuff coming out now, like something crazy like 20% of people who've been cutting the those Caesar stone bench tops, the quartz, like have got like silica.
Oh, you're kidding.
Like it's like
cancer.
Yeah, it's like asbestos. Like it's just as bad as asbestos. It's like or worse. It's like crazy. And like everyone's getting those. That's the sort of the thing is these sort of man-made stone bench tops. I'm sure it'll be just as popular here as it is in Australia. They're always
Maybe try just going in that direction so we can like stuff going that way a little bit. I mean, I couldn't be happier. That's awesome.
That's what you want.
That's what I wanted for sure. My regular camera ran out of space. We are just about at the very end of our little Rennsport thrash here. Let me show you what we just did. So this is the aluminum hood, aluminum bonnet. We just spent a lot of time just trying to polish it and make it look cool. This is the cowl that we did matte black, just fitting the windshield wipers right now. Probably won't need them, but maybe. It's supposed to rain on Saturday. So my bald tires should be really fun in that. But big flex here, having the aluminum hood. And it looks super cool. Like, obviously this is not how I want to present the Gray Ghost. It needs paint. It needs, this stuff is kind of gnarly here. But overall, I think it presents pretty well. I have snuck these wheels and tires on. I will actually show you these in another video. But they look kind of cool, and the aluminum hood is sort of the creme de la creme, as they say in the creme business. So at this point, it's just trying to get like everything dialed in. I've got my tool kit starting to form here for a long, 6-hour road trip. I've got my jack in the bag, obviously, but this thing should be very roadworthy in a very short period of time. Hopefully I'll have some sort of Rennsport video. If not, this guy will definitely have a Rennsport video. You definitely will, right? Yeah. You should be following Home Built by Jeff. If you're not already, you should have at the beginning of this video when I promoted the hell out of him. But yeah, this is it, guys. Thank you for watching. Super psyched about this. If you're at Rennsport, hopefully I saw you there and we high-fived. And if not, then next time. Okay. Cheers.